Well, let's talk now to one of those retired health workers who might be being asked to return to work. Sheila Jones is a retired nurse and joins me via webcam. Sheila, thanks for joining us today. Have you been asked yet?
No, I haven't. And in fact, it was after I got the phone call this morning that I realised that there's going to be letters sent out to staff today. So that's my. But I had heard that it was in the offing.
And when did you retire, and would you consider going back?
Okay, so I'm 66 now. I retired in June last year. So I'm, quite out of practice, I would say. The only way that I can see it working, that I could possibly return to work, is if they can make it safe for my age group to actually go back to work. So the World Health Organization, whose advice I'm following, state that anybody 60 plus who has underlying health conditions, and they name them, should avoid crowded places where they might interact with people who are sick. So there is a massive dilemma for my age group. So I don't think, obviously I'm isolating now, so I don't think that I could go back into a frontline post, but I would consider doing something, maybe remotely on helplines, or maybe even if they could get the technology quickly enough to work on a computer type help desk, maybe just helping out the GPs to release those people to work with more sick patients. So my background is intensive care, and also I did do research into respiratory conditions, so I have an understanding of the tremendous load on nurses who are working in these conditions, and it's not easy to train for those positions. I mean, I would be out of practice now.
But you do have expertise that is obviously really badly in need, and even if you had to get yourself updated whilst you're isolating, obviously people will completely understand your personal dilemma, but they will say, in some capacity, please, can you help? I'm sure.
They probably will, but I think it's the wrong way to look at it, because you literally are risking a whole decade of people who haven't been tested. So there are main issues here. One, there's not been enough testing done in the UK. So I had a chest infection, a flu-like illness at Christmas, just after Christmas. But the testing wasn't being done in January, so I don't know if I've had coronavirus, and there's no antibody test yet that can check if I've had it. I think that would give a little bit of reassurance that maybe there was some immunity there if that was available.
Yes, they are working on that, aren't they? I mean, we heard about that yesterday.
Yes, I believe so. And then personal protective equipment. At the moment, that isn't getting out to the areas that are needed. I've got a friend who's working down in Hastings, and they're working without any personal protective equipment. That's a massive concern, given that I'm in a high-risk group for serious illness should I contract coronavirus. So it is a massive dilemma.
What about the question of immunity? Because we don't know for sure yet whether, if you've had this virus, that you're definitely immune, or for how long.
No, we don't, which is why I don't think bringing us back into the fray is necessarily the right approach. I think that the best approach might be to redeploy staff who can be upskilled within the service now, and release jobs that put the over 60 age group at less risk, and that includes those people 60 to 66 who've had to continue working because they couldn't retire due to not receiving their pension. I'm thinking about the 1950s women and the Backto60 movement. So those women are continuing to work at severe risk, and I feel like they're not being looked after, and it would be better to move them into less risky jobs as well. So I think it's not necessarily being looked at in the right way.
Sheila Jones, it's been really interesting to talk to you, and the alternative things that you and your colleagues could do to help, I'm sure, are possible. I'm sure many people will hope that can be utilised. But for now, thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Thank you very much.